Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's actually out and about today, so you're stuck with me. So we're going to talk about old man games. We're going to talk about retro games, which I love immensely. We actually have a pretty good-sized game room. And, you know, if you've watched some of our videos, I've actually, over on Clownfish Gaming especially, I've actually taken you guys over there, played some X-Men, arcade, and, yeah, we got like full-size machines and everything over there. It's pretty fun. We got big ass custom-built Ninja Turtle machine. It's really nice. I'll probably do more live streams over there here eventually, but we're going to talk about retro games. We're going to talk about GameStop, going back to retro games. Of course they are, because AAA gaming is imploding, right? All these hundreds of millions of dollars on these games that nobody wants to play. And that's including Gen Z. That's including Gen Alpha. It's not just old men like me who don't want to play these newfangled DEI games. It's the general audience doesn't care. They're going back to retro games. And we covered this before. This article actually came out like 4 or 5 months ago, talking about how Gen Z are getting in on the nostalgia that they're playing retro games. A lot of people still playing their main game from like 10 years ago. They're playing Fortnite, they're playing Valorant, they're playing, you know what I'm saying? They're playing League of Legends. They're not playing the new games. Now GameStop is going to try to save its ass apparently by selling retro consoles again, which is like a no-brainer, right? Now I don't know if we're going to get one of these around here, but it's interesting because a lot of kids want these old consoles. In fact, my kids wanted to play retro consoles so badly, they bought me, using air quotes here, an N64, completely refurbished, reconditioned, beautiful, and I got Never Drive in it, so I got like every game on it. It's awesome. And we play it. We're playing Mario Party on it and stuff. They love it. They love these old games. And this is a huge problem for AAA gaming, because this tells me that even GameStop is like, there's no future in modern games. It's just like comic books, right? Comic shops that are staying open are selling back issues. They're not selling the new monthlies that much. Not like they were before. It used to be the new monthly is where your bread and butter. Well, nobody cares about the new monthly comics. What do? You sell the old stuff at a huge markup. And that's what they're doing. And the same thing is happening with video games now. GameStop is going to go back to selling retro consoles. Now, back in the day, they used to rip you off big time. Like you would walk out of the store with a $50 game and you'd bring it back a week later and say, hey, I want to trade it in. They'd give you a couple bucks for it, and then they would mark it up to like $45, right? But yeah, they're getting into this again, and it's going to be really interesting. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. This comes from Bounding into Comics. As players grow tired of activism in games, GameStop announces plans to bring back retro consoles. They're going to have well-established GameStop locations, all the classics, all the good stuff. The game launch, the retro game launch comes after the Xbox 360 marketplace shutdown. The unfortunate event has left many gamers yearning for a way to preserve their classics. Yeah, and it's hard because it's getting harder and harder to legally be able to buy classic games intact. And I want to add that intact, because a lot of times they make changes, unwanted current year changes to these games. And people are like, this isn't exactly the game I remember. And when it's, on Steam or something like that, they can just keep updating that game. They can keep patching it and be like, yeah, okay, now all the characters, they got more clothes and we're going to get rid of the jiggle physics. And she looks too feminine. Let's make her look like a dude. It's exactly the way you remember it in 1999, isn't it? They said with the rise of digital games and other changes in the industry, GameStop has been dealing with a pretty steep decline in layoffs over the last decade. Yeah, this feels like a Hail Mary pass. Nevertheless, one of the best-known video game stores has overcome the toughest times and is adapting to new circumstances. GameStop ventured into selling gaming merchandise with toys, shirts, and more. It's basically a Funko Pop store now, just like comic shops. Basically, there is no difference. I swear to God, there's no difference between GameStop and a comic shop now. They both have the same shit. They're both selling nerd adjacent stuff. It's not actually the main product. They're not getting by selling new video games. They're, just like comic shops aren't getting by selling new comic books. It's all the Funko Pops and keychains and t-shirts and stuff. It's still a key place where gaming enthusiasts can find hardware, including headsets, controllers, and consoles. Because you can't get those at Walmart or Amazon now. By reintroducing some of the consoles that changed the industry for the better decades ago, GameStop plans to bring back retro games. Complete list includes 18 retro consoles from the SNES, Super Nintendo to me, to the PlayStation 3, which is retro now. God, that's how old I am. And this shows just a growing trend among gamers who are becoming wary of modern games. Many players are frustrated with the constant online requirements, toxic community behavior behind the most popular games of today, and the fact that many titles are influenced by political correctness. Super Mario has never been tainted by political agendas, and his main goal is to save Princess Peach from Bowser and the Koopalings. That's all it is. And that's why Astrobot's doing so well. It's just a game. It's just a fun game. And it's good. That's it. And the developers aren't out there shitting on people as far as I know. And they're not talking about sexism in games as far as I know. It's just a good game. All this has led to a nostalgia-driven desire to give players simpler times when video games were more straightforward. Yes, when they were games and not political statements. With this festival of retro consoles, GameStop is making itself a refuge for gamers who want to escape from the shackles of the modern gaming industry. Yeah, so the official store site, let's see here. Let's go out here. And I knew about this, but I didn't know they had a retro store locator. There we go, guys. Yeah, this is all stuff. I mean, I guess they're going to charge through the nose for it. But see, it's weird. I didn't think they stopped selling this stuff. I thought they always kept some sort of physical console presence on hand. But I remember going to GameStop was Electronics Boutique, because that's how old I am, and looking at all the new Genesis and TurboGrafx 16 games, and they were on a wall. And I do remember talking to one guy that worked there, and he tried to convince me that the TurboGrafx 16 was going to be a bigger hit than the Sega Genesis. And when I first bought my Sega Genesis, I thought he was right, because there was, like, people don't remember when the Genesis first came out, they had like that initial batch of games, and then there were like no games for months. And then Sonic came out, and then it was like the floodgates were open. But like, I bought my Genesis when it first came out, like within, I think it came out in August. I want to say August of '89. I was saving my money up for it, and I actually sold some Nintendo cartridges to get it, because I wanted Golden Axe. I bought the Sega Genesis for Golden Axe, and I think I bought it in I want to say September or October of that year, whenever Golden Axe was out. Because I don't know if it came out at first or it came out a couple months later. But whenever Golden Axe came out, that's when I bought it. Like as soon as it came out. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, we're finally going to get like arcade style games at home. And then I waited and I waited and I waited. And there's shit. There was like nothing. There was like these garbage third party games, Target Earth. Like, that game was freaking impossible. And it was like, there's nothing. I'm like, damn it, I got hosed. And the guy at EB was right. TurboGrafx is probably better. Damn it, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I trusted Sega. Because remember the Master System? That was a disaster too. And then Sonic came out, and like everything changed. Like Sonic blew up the Genesis, and then the Genesis became this like massive thing. I was like, yeah, I didn't get hosed. But then I actually wound up selling my Genesis to get a Super Nintendo, because I was pissed off about the Sega CD. That's a whole nother thing. Now I got like everything. So I got everything. The trade-off is, now that I am old and I have responsibilities, I have everything I could possibly want to play, but I don't have time to play it. I've got games that my kids and my wife have gotten me for Christmas 3 years ago that are still shrink wrapped. I'm not even kidding. I've got a shelf full of Switch games that are still shrink wrapped because I have not had time to play them. And it depresses me. This is kind of like that Twilight Zone episode where the guy has all the books he can read, and then he breaks his glasses, and it's like there's nobody left to fix them. It's just like that. Like, I've got a game room, and I've got all these games. I'm sitting here looking at just even my office. I got a bunch of arcade 1-ups in my office, and I'm like, I can't remember the last time I turned these on. But anyway, if you're into retro games, see, I don't need to buy new games, because like there's so much stuff I haven't played yet. Or stuff I want to play again. But there it is. And yeah, I do believe a big part of it is just people are checking out from modern gaming. And this is why so many people are getting laid off. And honestly, there are so many games that have been made and so many indie developers out there making good games that get overlooked in favor of these multi-million-dollar AAA titles. We don't need the AAA gaming scene. We really don't. We're actually probably better off without it. I mean, we could all just go back to playing old games. We could all go back to reading old comic books, watching old anime. We don't need... I mean, it's nice to have new stuff, but the new stuff is bastardized, and you're going to hate it, and it's going to become this hockey puck that everybody's going to use to, attack each other with and make it all weirdly political. And what's the freaking point, right? So we're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.